Chris Honorado and the closer, Brian Mariano, with you here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio, and 104.5theteam.com. We're in for Roger this morning, and some news from the Valleycats just within the last few minutes. Tri-City has secured Eli Young Band closer to perform free concert at Riverfront Park in Troy during the All-Star Fan Fest. That's Monday, August 14th. And then Hall of Fame outfielder Jim Rice will be in the house at an All-Star Luncheon on Tuesday, August 15th. Our sister station, WGNA 107.7, the proud sponsor of the Eli Young Band at the All-Star festivities for the New York Penn League. Good stuff. Looking forward to that. The manager is Morgan Ensberg, and he's good enough to join us here every Friday morning on 104.5 The Team, Big Board Sports. Chris Honorado and Brian Mariano in for Roger here. Skipper, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time. How are you, Morgan?
Hey, I'm good. I'm on a bus. We're heading to Maryland.
You know, it seems every time we talk to you, you're on a bus, and I get the feeling that may not change for much of the season. Morgan, first question I want to ask you, because I think I'll get it from a lot of fans, and you would certainly have greater perspective on this than I would. Can you explain the ups and downs of a minor league season, and maybe most specifically a short season single A season where you might lose a game 10-1 and then the next night win 13-0?
No.
So I'll have nothing to tell these people who ask me.
Yeah, no. I mean, so what we have here, you're dealing with the first introduction of professional baseball with guys. And guys have been playing amateur baseball, for about 15 years. And when you get to professional baseball, there's a few things that are different. Obviously the biggest one is that you're playing a full-blown game every single day, and that takes time to get used to. The other thing is that you're dealing with players that have different ability levels, and they're learning new skills. They're not going to be taking the same swings that they took in the amateur level, because those swings that they used with aluminum bats and the metal bats that they have now are just not going to work. The pitchers that used to get away with certain pitches in college or high school are not going to work as they approach the big league level. So what you have is you have a lot of guys with a lot of athleticism and a lot of talent, but a lot of inconsistency in their game, and that's why you see such swings between wins and losses, scores, and so forth. The brand of baseball is just inconsistent.
Coach Brian Mariano sitting in with Chris this morning. Now, being the single A level like you are, the hardest thing is to integrate these draft picks that end up coming through Tri-City. What are the biggest challenges that you have to deal with these draft picks that come through, some longer than others?
Well, I mean, obviously the new guys that are showing up just now, the biggest difficulty is getting the $20 I fine them for being late for the season. So, I mean, they have their agents and they're signing their contracts. That makes no difference to me. All I know is that they were late for the first 10 to 15 games of the season. So we want our $20 so we can have a pizza party at the end of it.
Hey, Morgan, look, every July 4th holiday, and I know the Valleycats have been really good about getting home games around that holiday because the crowds just love it, and obviously you integrate the fireworks into it. It brings out even more fans. When we talked to you last week, I asked you about, should there be kind of an innings cap on a Major League Baseball game so we're not playing these long games, which you pointed out will drain a bullpen, not just for that night, but for the next 2-3 nights, even possibly. When you play a 4-hour game at your level, why is that?
Well, again, I think it speaks to that guys are not as consistent in the strike zone. They're learning how to become consistent. They're learning new pitches. We're not just throwing a fastball and maybe one off-speed pitch. They're integrating 2 more off-speed pitches, and they're having to learn how to attack the zone early in the count. So with that comes inconsistency. Then, if a few balls drop or you have an error, all of a sudden, the game gets longer and longer. So what ends up happening is that it's just that the innings themselves, if you're throwing 5 to 7 extra pitches, that's adding on minutes to the game. And then if you throw hits in there, that's also adding some time, going on. Obviously, a 4-hour game is way out of the norm. It's much closer to 3 hours. But the 4-hour game is obviously something that was because we got smoked. I mean, they seemed to hit every single hole that we had, and that obviously causes the game to go on longer.
And these are questions I bring up because people in the last couple of days have kind of asked me, how do you play a 4-hour game and how do you lose 10-1 and then win 13-0? But, that's why we bring them up here this morning. Like I said, you would have much better perspective on it than I would. Okay, so after a 6-game road trip and then a short stay at home, just a 3-game set, what do you feel about your team after taking 2 or 3 from Brooklyn?
Well, we're obviously excited that the guys are becoming more accustomed to playing every single game, and we're trying to get them to play more consistency and use the natural talent that they have. They have the talent to make it to the big leagues. But what's going to get them to the big leagues is their ability to play at basically 80 or 90% of their ability all the time. So this last little homestand there, winning 2 or 3 was great. And yesterday specifically was just fun to watch. An interesting note, the day we got thrown out, we hit nine balls over 90 miles per hour. And yesterday, when we hit 10 balls over 90 miles per hour. So you could tell that the difference between the games was obviously huge, and that they blew us out one night, we blew them out one night. But as far as hitting the ball hard and doing the correct things, they were essentially the same game. So it's a very interesting game, and it's an interesting level that we're at right now.
Coach, listen, I'm a Yankee fan right now, and they can't hit the broadside of a barn.
I gotta go.
I was going to say, you don't have an extra bat, you can come back and help us out, or even maybe go and be their hitting coach for a little bit?
Yeah, you don't want me to do either of those things.
Morgan Ensberg with us here on 104.5, the Team ESPN radio manager of the Valleycats, of course. Will you find time to watch the Major League Baseball All-Star game? I know, obviously, I believe you have a game that night, but is that a game that interests you on any level?
I'm trying to be political here. No, it doesn't really interest me too much. I think it's a great thing for the fans, but our job is really about spending all of our time here at the park. And just for people who know, it's not going to be super exciting, but our coaching staff gets to the park at 11 o'clock in the morning usually, and we get out of there by 11:30 or something like that. So that whole block of time, there's probably a half hour, maybe an hour scattered throughout 15-minute increments where we have a little bit of a break. So it's not a situation where we have like TV on, and are able to enjoy some of the other things. We're working with players. We're working with the different administrative things and reports that we have to put or give back to Houston, and we're working nonstop. Now, we love it. I mean, we absolutely love it, but it kind of does take away from the chance for us to watch the big league team and the All-Star game. And to be honest with you, I know that Houston, the Astros are obviously doing well, but I don't even know if they won last night. I don't really know what's going on because our focus is so much on these kids.
Well, I can tell you as a Braves fan, they pounded the heck out of Atlanta for 2 games the last couple. Oh my goodness! I mean, that lineup is just—it's unbelievable how good they are. And if there's anything near the middle of the zone, forget it. It's a line drive somewhere. Morgan, I'll let you get out of here on this, man. I'm hoping you can help settle a debate between Roger and me.
I will, bud.
I hated the fact that the All-Star game determined home field advantage in the World Series. Roger loved it because he thought it brought more meaning to the All-Star game. Where do you side on this?
I do know the answer, and the answer is that it was absolutely ridiculous that had any impact on the postseason game.
Yes!
You're talking about a game basically played between the Generals and the Globetrotters, determined whether or not you'd have the NBA Finals at home or away. I mean, it's just not something that should have determined that. I understand you want to make it, more exciting and more intriguing, but to have such impact, that's not a big deal. I mean, to have home field advantage is a huge deal, especially when you know that the margin of victory in postseason, let alone the World Series, is so small. I
don't care what the Twitter poll says. I've got Morgan Ensberg on my side. Skipper, next time you have an off day, come into the studio. We'll rub it in Roger's face, and lunch is on me.
I have zero problem with that.
Love it.
Love it. That's awesome.
Thank you, Skipper. Good luck this weekend at Aberdeen.
Thanks, boys.